In this video, we're going to talk about the end of the PlayStation 5 PlayStation Direct sales, the AntOnline sale that happened, and the upcoming Best Buy sale on Sunday, November 22nd. We'll also talk about what PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan has said about the supply that is coming online, and some Xbox Series X sales at Newegg. I'm Linus Wilson. Subscribe. We give you the secrets to get the console that you want. PlayStation Direct broke our hearts. We were all ready to open up multiple devices because multiple tabs doesn't work, but if you have multiple devices, you have kind of more shots to win. And we were also worried about getting to the Q2 early before it starts. There might be a penalty associated with that, but the Q just never happened. So we had a 6-day weekday streak. So starting on Thursday the 12th, Friday the 13th, and then going through this week until Thursday the 19th, PlayStation Direct went live, but it didn't go live on November 20th, and it's not gone live while I'm recording this on November 21st. So we don't know. I mean, I was kind of surprised PlayStation Direct went as long as it did. I think it was, the fact that they were shipping in-stock units, right? They had like 1-day shipping, regardless of whether you got the advanced shipping or not. I didn't know how long they could hold that out, and they would have to just make sure they didn't put it out too much at a time. But if they have one sale where they put out too much at a time, then they're going to have a lag. We have no idea. The truth is, we have no idea. We know what they've done in the past, but we don't know what they're going to do in the future. And they've certainly not said that they're going to have PlayStation Direct inventory every weekday. So maybe we'll have a sale this weekend. Maybe we won't have to see them again. So I don't know. And then there were some sales in Canada, but AntOnline went live. I think it was about 11 a.m. Eastern, something like that. And they sent a tweet. So AntOnline says that for the first 2 weeks, through the first 2 weeks in December, they're going to have the Xbox Series X and S, or the PlayStation 5 go up, right? And they said they were definitely going to have one go up this week, so we were expecting it on Friday or Saturday. And I posted that before they went up, and dozens of my followers did get it. From AntOnline, and we also have some more evidence of Target walk-ins. So this guy got a PS5 at Target on 11/20, and we also got some good intel about Target's future plans, which is not good news, right? Here's all these people that got PlayStation 5 bundles from AntOnline. Let's see. The PlayStation 5 bundle from AntOnline was a console, DualSense wireless controller, Black Ops Cold War. Maybe it had like something, an earpiece. Let's see if it's Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, Demon Souls, Last of Us Part 2. Okay, so it had a ton of games. It had like 4 games associated with it, and an extra controller. And it was, I think it was $800 before tax and shipping. So, and AntOnline, it says very good shipping. And so this is what AntOnline has said, is, hello gamers, we can confirm that we will have another next-gen Xbox Series X and S PS5 are both launched later this week, and every week through the second week of December. Keep following our Twitter for updates right as we go live with more bundles. So you want to turn on all notifications for AntOnline, so you don't have to wait for a notification from me or at Cheeto Gaming YT or at PS5 Sales or anybody else. I guess we saw Jake got it earlier. Because AntOnline is probably going to announce it on their Twitter, unlike most retailers. So most retailers, we get news from people who've found it online, right? Who've been able to been first in. But I'm telling you, a month ago, when I would tell people about AntOnline's coming sales, right? They were a first wave PS5 seller. They had a second wave of PS5s, and they had a third wave of PS5s. And then on the second wave, nobody wanted to touch them with a 10-foot pole. Everybody said they're awful, they're terrible, their reviews are bad, they're not legit. And now, everybody has got their consoles faster from AntOnline than the traditional retailers. Has nothing but good to say about them, right? And I think if you objectively look at their reviews, they're similar to other retailers. And not just on the PS5, but just in general. I feel like the same thing went on yesterday, and it really kind of upset me with QVC. Right, the QVC went live for a bundle, and I got really upset at a lot of my followers who I felt were trolling people who wanted to get it. This QVC does not sell at MSRP. They don't do that for the Xbox Series S. They sold $60 over MSRP, and they don't do that for anything, right? They're a TV company that sell stuff at a markup. They don't give you great deals. So this bundle, let's see if I can show it to you. This is via Wario 64. Ships on 11/30. It had an extra controller, a headset, an extra charging station, a skin for your thing, and maybe something else to put your stack your games in, and you got a Sackboy, right? So what is that? And it was like $900. So you got $70 extra for the controller, $70 for Sackboy, and this other stuff is worth at least $50, but maybe $70, $80, who knows? So we got 70, 70, and let's say 70, right? That gets you to or 60. That gets you to 200 over, so 700. So it is a $200 markup. Yeah, it is. But not everybody has weeks and weeks to get to spend trying to secure a console. And there will be some retail. This was certainly, I think, a better deal than what Fingerhut was offering. And by the way, QVC sold out immediately. Fingerhut sold out immediately, right? So is it great? No, it's not great. But I think that, people should not be trolled for buying from them. And BJ's, of course, flaked on their promise to sell stuff on the 20th at midnight. They never did it, and so they're refunding people's memberships. And then Newegg sold some Xbox Series X bundles, I think with an extra controller. Good for at-site supply for getting that out. My followers did not get on it quick enough because I was not quick enough. But, and then, this has been coming from via at Showtime Pro 4, Showtime Sony News Next Gen Updates. Follow us. From Target source info, they were allowed to sell Xbox Series X. Looks like everything will now be online only. And I'll read you the memo that he got. Start 11/19 and 12/06. Video game console update. After last week's console launches, stores shared that limited stocks and high demand is causing guests confusion and disappointment in store. To prioritize team member and guest safety starting Wednesday, November 25th, the new Xbox X PlayStation 5 consoles will only be available for guests to purchase online via pickup, drive up, and ship to home for fulfillment centers. Now through November 25th, continue to sell Xbox consoles to walk-in guests. More inventory will arrive this weekend. Use MyLines app if lines begin to form. PlayStation inventory is currently trapped at DCs, which is distribution centers, and should not be available for walk-in guests. So they're not going to allow any more pickup orders, right? And then starting November 25th, Xbox and PlayStation 5 will only be available for purchase online. Do not sell to walk-in guests. Updated message on Target.com will inform guests of the change to online only. A new 7 by 11 inch sign on the item availability sandwich board at the front of the store and electronic service counter to educate guests that consoles are only available through the Target app and Target.com. So what does this mean? Because we're seeing lots of people picking up the Xbox Series X and PS5. You should, you have until November 25th to find a Target on the Pop Finder or MyStore for Spot app, and then walk in and get it. And then after starting on the 25th, they are not allowed to sell it to you. And you might find some Targets that'll start this policy early, but you've got until November 25th, that's Wednesday, to use those apps to see if there are any Xbox Series X or S or PS5s at a Target that you can walk in and get. Otherwise, you need to order online from Target from then. And then we had this article via Tass, which is a Russian news service, interviewing Jim Ryan, which I thought was interesting, but quite sobering, right? He says, I wouldn't recommend another console launch during a pandemic is the headline. And he has some interesting statements. He's 1 week after launch on select markets, how are sales doing? Everything is sold. Absolutely everything is sold. And everything will be sold in Russia. There's no doubt about that. I spent much of the last year trying to be sure we could generate enough demand for the product. And now in terms of my executive bandwidth, I'm spending a lot more time trying to increase supply to meet that demand, right? That they're sold out everywhere. They need more supply. Any new supply is going to come from new manufacturing. If it weren't for COVID, would the PS5 been different? In terms of product and feature set, no, absolutely not. There's the way they took it to market may have been a bit different, but the actual product would have been the same. We might have had a few more to sell, but not very many. The guys on production manufacturing side have worked miracles. And then, how fast do you expect the transition from players from PS4 to PS5? All history indicates that the initial cohort from the launch to Christmas, about 3/4 will be upgraders from the PS4. And the remaining 25% will either come from another console or will come from outside the console ecosystem. So the great majority of those who buy PS5s will have a PS4. There are around 114 million PS4s in the world, but the number of those who transfer, if you keep in mind that, is a small number. But for us, the PS4 community is going to remain incredibly important, certainly for 2020, 2021, and 2022, because in those 3 years, they will be the larger PlayStation community, right? So what is he saying here? He's saying that the PlayStation 4, the 114 million PlayStation 4s, there will be more of those than PlayStation 5s until 2022. So that means that the maximum that they could produce, right, is about 50 million PlayStations per year, right? Probably less, maybe 40 million. So maybe they can produce 3 million a month. Maybe. Because the whole point is, like, how can they have more than the PS4? Well, they have to manufacture more. Well, you know, divide the number of times they've been in production by the number of months in 2020, 2021, and 2022. There's not many months left in 2020, but there's 24 months left in 2021 and 2022. All right, I'm Linus Wilson. Subscribe.